Namaskar, Jai Shri Krishna. Cherishing text 1, text 2 and text 3 of chapter 10, the opulence of the absolute of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Text 1, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Bhuya eva Mahabaho Shrunu me paramama vachaha yatte aham priyamanaya vakshayami hitakamyaya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Listen again, O mighty armed Arjun. Because you are my dear friend, for your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than that I have already explained." The word Bhagwan is explained thus by Parashur Muni, one who is full in six opulences, who has full strength, full fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty and renunciation is Bhagwan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. While Krishna was present on this earth, he displayed all six opulences. Therefore, great sages like Parashar Muni have all accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, Krishna is instructing Arjun in more confidential knowledge of his opulences and his work. Previously, beginning with the 7th chapter, the Lord has already explained his different energies and how they are acting. Now in this chapter, he explains the specific opulences to Arjun. In the previous chapter, he has clearly explained his different energies to establish devotion in firm conviction. Again in this chapter, he tells Arjun about his manifestations and various opulences. The more one hears about the Supreme God, the more one becomes fixed in devotional service. One should always hear about the Lord in the association of devotees that will enhance one's devotional service. Discourses in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna's consciousness. Others cannot take part in such discourses. The Lord clearly tells Arjun that because Arjun is very dear to him, for his benefit, such discourses are taking place. Text 2. Name viduha suraganaha prabhavam na maharshayah aha madir hi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord. No one is greater than him. He is the cause of all causes. Here it is also stated by the Lord personally that he is the cause of all the demigods and sages. Even the demigods and great sages cannot understand Krishna. They can understand neither his name nor his personality. So what is the position of the so-called scholars of this tiny planet? No one can understand why this Supreme God comes to earth as an ordinary human being and executes such wonderful uncommon activities. One should know then that scholarship is not the qualification necessary to understand Krishna. Even the demigods and the great sages have tried to understand Krishna by their mental speculation and they have failed to do so. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also, it is clearly said that even the great demigods are not able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They can speculate to the limits of their imperfect senses and can reach the opposite conclusion of impersonalism of something not manifested by the three qualities of material nature, or they can imagine something by mental speculation. But it is not possible to understand Krishna by such foolish speculation. Here the Lord indirectly says that if anyone wants to know the absolute truth, here I am present as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am the Supreme. One should know this. Although one cannot understand the inconceivable Lord who is personally present, he nonetheless exists. We can actually understand Krishna, who is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, simply by studying his words in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. The conception of God as some ruling power or as the impersonal Brahma can reach by persons who are in the inferior energy of the Lord. But the personality of Godhead cannot be conceived unless one is in the transcendental position, because most men cannot understand Krishna in his actual situation. Out of his causeless mercy, he descends to show favor to such speculators. Yet despite the Supreme Lord's uncommon activities, these speculators, due to contamination in the material energy, still think that the impersonal Brahma is the Supreme. Only the devotees who are fully surrendered unto the Supreme Lord can understand by the grace of the Supreme Personality that he is Krishna. The devotees of the Lord do not bother about the impersonal Brahma conception of God. Their faith and devotion bring them to surrender immediately unto the Supreme Lord, and out of the causeless mercy of Krishna, they can understand Krishna. No one else can understand him. So even great sages agree. What is Atma? What is the Supreme? It is he whom we have to worship. Text 3. Yo mamajam nadim cha vetti loka maheshwaram asam mudaha sa martayeshu sarva papaiha pramuchate. He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme Lord of all the worlds, he only, undeluded among men, is free from all sins. As stated in the 7th chapter 7.3, Manushyanam sahasreshu kashasida yatati siddhaye. Those who are trying to elevate themselves to the path of spiritual realization are not ordinary men. They are superior to millions and millions of ordinary men who have no knowledge of spiritual realization. But out of those actually trying to understand their spiritual situation, one who can come to the understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the proprietor of everything, the unborn, is the most successful spiritually realized person. In that stage only, when one has fully understood Krishna's supreme position, can one be free completely from all sinful reactions. Here the Lord is described by the word Aja, meaning unborn, but he is distinct from the living entities which are described in the 2nd chapter as Aja. The Lord is different from the living entities which are taking birth and dying due to material attachment. The conditioned souls are changing their bodies, but his body is not changeable. Even when he comes to this material world, he comes as the same unborn. Therefore, in the 4th chapter, it is said that the Lord by his internal potency is not under the inferior material energy, but is always in the superior energy. In this verse, the words Vetti Loka Maheshwaram indicate that one should know that Lord Krishna is the supreme proprietor of the planetary systems of the universe. He was existing before the creation, and he is different from his creation. All the demigods were created within this material world, but as far as Krishna is concerned, it is said that he is not created. Therefore, Krishna is different even from the great demigods like Brahma and Shiv. And because he is the creator of Brahma, Shiv and all the other demigods, he is the supreme person of all planets. Shri Krishna is different, therefore, from everything that is created, and anyone who knows him as such immediately becomes liberated from all sinful reactions. One must be liberated from all sinful activities to be in the knowledge of the Supreme Lord. Only by devotional service can he be known, and not by any other means, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. One should not try to understand Krishna as a human being. As stated previously, only a foolish person thinks him to be an ordinary human being. This is again expressed here in a different way. A man who is not foolish, who is intelligent enough to understand the constitutional position of the Godhead, is always free from all sinful reactions. If Krishna is known to be son of Devaki, then how can he be unborn? That is also explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. When he appeared before Devaki and Vasudev, he was not born as an ordinary child. He appeared in his original form, and then he transformed himself into an ordinary child. Anything done under the direction of Krishna is transcendental. It cannot be contaminated by material reactions, which may be pious or impious. The conception that there are things pious and impious in the material world is more or less a mental concoction, because there is nothing auspicious in the material world. Everything is inauspicious because the very material nature is inauspicious. We simply imagine it to be auspicious. Real auspiciousness depends on activities in Krishna's consciousness and full devotion and service. Therefore, if we at all want our activities to be auspicious, then we should work under the directions of the Supreme Lord. Such directions are given in authoritative scriptures such as Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, or from a bona fide spiritual master. Because the spiritual master is the representative of the Supreme Lord, his direction is directly the direction of the Supreme Lord. The spiritual master, saintly persons and scriptures direct in the same way. There is no contradiction in these three sources. All actions done under such direction are free from the reactions of pious or impious activities in this material world. The transcendental attitude of the devotee in the performance of activities is actually that of renunciation, and this is called sannyas. As stated in the first verse of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, one who acts as a matter of duty because he has been ordered to do so by the Supreme Lord and who does not seek shelter in the fruits of his activities, anashritaha karma phalam, is a true renouncer. Anyone acting under the direction of the Supreme Lord is actually a sannyasi and a yogi, and not the man who has simply taken the dress of the sannyasi or a pseudo yogi. Thank you.